took a long time. Made people come. They talked to you.
Okay.
That's
We are continuing on in the Seudot of Shabbat, basically. Last thing that we said, we did talk about eating it within 7.5 minutes. You should try to eat the kazait of bread within 7.5 minutes. And we also mentioned, if you remember, if a person is not going to eat more than a kazait, then they should do netilat yadayim, but they won't say the beracha of al netilat yadayim. They should wash their hands, right? But they won't say the beracha of al netilat yadayim unless you will eat 2 kezitim, which is 1 kibetza of bread. Okay. Now, if
you
a person
need to eat 1 kazait in 7.5 minutes?
right, 1 kazait within 7.5 minutes, you're good.
So
Right?
that's 1 ounce?
That's 1 ounce. So the 1 kazait is for being able to say Birkat Hamazon. That is the amount that you need, that it should be eaten within Kedeh Achilat Pras, right? 2 kezitim is so that you be able to do the Netilat Yadayim with a beracha. If a person had fish, and obviously everybody has, it's a great thing to have fish on Shabbat. A lot of people say you should have fish on all the 3 meals, so, but that's only if you like fish. But anyway, a person had fish and now they want to eat meat. So the halacha is that you have to, the Gemara says that it's a sakana, it's a danger, right? We're not talking about kashrut. The laws of kashrut is not a problem. We don't have a problem with fish and meat together. It's the health problem. It's a health issue. So there's danger in eating them together. So some say that one should wash their mouth, right? And some say you should also eat something in between, right? So we do both. We wipe our mouth, wash our hands, and eat something. Eat a piece of bread, eat some salad, something in between. This way, there is a total separation between the fish and the meat, and in that way, we could eat it. If your hands are clean, didn't use your hands, really halachically, you don't have to wash your hands. Right? A person is very careful, very proper. He uses a fork and a knife and everything. He doesn't get their hands dirty eating fish. I say gefilte fish is easy. You don't have to get down and dirty. Just slice it nice and clean and you eat it. Then you don't have to really wash your hands. But you do have to eat something in between. The halachot about fish and meat, there's many. What constitutes? Can you cook them together in the oven at the same time? This, that, all these things. Obviously, that is not allowed. Both open in the oven. That's not a good thing. It says that the steam of these foods gets mixed into one another, and that a person should refrain from.
What's the danger?
I don't know. Some say a person gets tzarat. It doesn't say. It just says sakana ledavar acher. That's what it says. It is a danger for something else.
Can you put them in right after each other?
Yeah. Better to wait. That means let the oven burn off whatever steam there is, I guess 15, 20 minutes, half hour, and then use it. That would be much better.
But then
Also,
the
it
fish
gets the smell of the fish.
But then the fish isn't going to be like fleshy. Like, let's say you make meat.
Right.
Is that
You made meat in the oven. Now you want to bake the fish in the oven. So wait, give it 15, 20 minutes. That's fine. The fish will stay parve.
If one's covered, you can have them both then. No?
Yeah. If one is covered, that makes it easier. Okay. So enough with that. Birkat Hamazon. Birkat Hamazon on Shabbat, we add the addition of Retzeh v'Hachalitzenu. It's a special prayer for Shabbat. Now, there's a question. If a person didn't say Retzeh v'Hachalitzenu, what is the halacha? Some say that you have to say Birkat Hamazon all over again, because it's as if you didn't say Birkat Hamazon. The whole reason why we had bread was for Shabbat. And if you didn't mention Shabbat, then you have to go back. You have to say Birkat Hamazon again because you missed the whole thing. Some say no. He was gonna have a meal anyway. If you remembered to say Reseva Chalitzenu, good. And if not, you forgot, then you don't have to go back. The halacha is, Shulchan Aruch brings down, that one has to go back. Let's say, but this is only in the first Seudot of the night, and the second Seudot of the day. Right? So it goes like this. Person says Birkat Hamazon, and it says V'tivnei Yerushalayim Yirachim Merav Yameinu, and then we say Reseva Chalitzenu Hashem Elokeinu Yom HaShabbat, and then you say Uvnei Yerushalayim L'Kodesh Merav Yameinu Baruch Atah Hashem Bonei Yerushalayim Amen, and then you continue to the next Meracha. Let's say a person said V'tivnei Yerushalayim Yirachim Merav Yameinu Baruch Atah Hashem. If you only say Baruch Atah Hashem, then just say Lamedeni Chukecha. Then that means you're inserting a pasuk from Tehillim 119, right there, smack in the middle of Birkat Hamazon, which is fine. You rather do this than move on. So again, you say Baruch Atah Hashem, say Lamedeni Chukecha, okay? There's a pasuk Baruch Atah Adonai Lamedeni Chukecha in Tehillim. So you say that. What?
I didn't understand.
There is a pasuk in Tehillim, right? It's this Baruch Atah Adonai Lamedeni Chukecha. That's the whole pasuk.
Oh, Lamdeni.
Right? So, in the middle of Birkat Hamazon, he could say that. This is better to say this. And then he says Reseva Chalitzenu, because he didn't say any beracha. And then he continues. He says V'tivnei Yerushalayim Yirachim Merav Yameinu Baruch Atah Hashem Bonei Yerushalayim, and continues Birkat Hamazon. Good. But if he finished the beracha, he said Baruch Atah Hashem Bonei Yerushalayim, right? And now he's up to the beracha Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam La'ad Ha'el Avinu Makenu Adirenu. Either he started the beracha or he didn't start the beracha. Either way, at this point in time, what he could do is, if he only got up to Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, at this point what he does is Baruch Atah Hashem Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Shabbatot Limnucha La'amo Yisrael Ba'ahava Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh Shabbat. Simple as that.
Sorry, if you said the whole bracha,
If he said the whole beracha,
right
now
there,
he remembers, oops.
right there, he says that bracha.
Then he says that bracha.
Okay, what's the bracha? Is it in the
It's
set?
a Sidurim have it.
Yeah, it's
I
like
hope.
right under that.
Some don't, right? But a lot of the Sidurim have it, and this is what we say, right? Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. I don't remember it either. Asher Natan Lanu Shabbatot Limnucha. I wrote it down. La'amo Yisrael Ba'ahava Le'ot Ulberit. These are very important two words that we have to say. Le'ot Ulberit. Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh HaShabbat. Pretty short beracha. Hopefully you won't need to know it, but in most of the Birkonim, you do have it. Right? So this is all if you remembered to say it before you said the word La'ad. Okay? But once you started that fourth beracha, Birkat Hamazon, he said just the word La'ad, then forget it. You have to go back to the beginning of Birkat Hamazon. Hello. Right? If you missed saying Reseva Chalitzenu at this point in time, then you need to go back to the beginning of Birkat Hamazon. All right?
After you say that,
Right. Once you started the fourth beracha, right? You said Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, you could still fix it. But if you said La'ad, Ha'el Avinu, or just said the word La'ad, that's already how are you going to change that?
is this true for girls also?
Yeah. For the first two Seudot, this is true of men and women. Okay? Sorry. Now, if a person finished Birkat Hamazon, now he doesn't remember, did I say Reseva Chalitzenu or not? Most of the time it happens Friday night. Everybody's half asleep. And what did I even say? Did I say it or not? He has a safek. He doesn't know for sure that he didn't say it. He has a safek. He has a doubt if he said Reseva Chalitzenu or not, then you don't have to go back. Right? Because this is Midrabanan, saying this is Midrabanan, and there is a double doubt whether you do have to say it or not, and also even if you probably did say it, because what are you doing sitting with all these Seudot of Shabbat? You probably said it, and if you didn't, so there's a Midrabanan. We say it's a sefeka de Rabbanan lekula, and therefore he does not have to go back. Good.
Does
the Harachaman make any difference? Like, let's say you missed that part.
You forgot
You said
saying
would say,
Harachaman.
but like.
Harachaman is an added
It's just like-
addition to the Birkat Hamazon. It's a prayer.
Right.
The main thing is the four barachot. Now, at the time of David HaMelech, there was a plague, and David HaMelech asked the Navi what's going on, and he found out that they're missing something very important, which is saying 100 barachot every day, right? To say 100 barachot every day, this is an obligation for men and women, right? To try to fill that and to make sure to do it. Now during the week, especially if a person prays 3 times, that already each prayer is 19 blessings, and that's 57 barachot right there. You have the barachot of the morning, that's around 22 barachot, and then you have other barachot during the tefillah. Just the prayer alone is going to get you really high up to the numbers, and then eating this, that helps. On Shabbat, we only have 4 prayers, right? We have Arvit, Shacharit, Musaf, and Mincha. We only have 4 prayers, and each prayer is only 7 barachot. So yeah, we are missing a lot of barachot, and we have to try to make that up. And that's why, a person, Rav Vadi used to always count his barachot. On Shabbat he would count, and he made sure he has Aseh Besamim, Isve Besamim. He would take a fruit, a lemon, and then he would smell it, say Meracha v'anoten reach tov laperot. And that's through that we are able to fill out. One time, a few Shabbatot I counted. Baruch Hashem, if you make the barachot between Kiddush and Netilah, and you make again barachot after Birkat Hamazon, and then you do the same thing during the day, and plus a few different barachot of smelling, you'll make it easy, right? You'll easily make it. After the meals each time, you make the barachot, you can find excuses to drink some grape juice also. That's another bracha, and with after bracha also on Shabbat, because we have to search, we have to try to do it. So therefore, it's something very important that a person should try to fulfill this mitzvah of the obligation of saying 100 barachot at least a day. On Shabbat, it just becomes a little tougher, but we could try to get to it. Now, what's happening with Kiddush in the morning, right? So there is a big machloket between poskim, Rishonim, actually, the Rashba and others, whether ladies have an obligation. So first of all, they say women don't have an obligation to pray shacharit on Shabbat, let's say. They only have an obligation to pray once a day, and they could choose to pray mincha. So shacharit is not a must by them. If they want, they could pray shacharit. If they want, they could choose to pray only mincha. So being that they don't have an obligation per se, they didn't obligate themselves to pray shacharit unless they do it every day. Let's say they don't. So being that they didn't obligate themselves to pray shacharit, so there are 2 issues here. One issue is to eat before shacharit. There is a prohibition to eat before shacharit. What is that? The pasuk says, "Ve'oti hishlachtem al gavecha," something like "Ve'oti hishlachta acharei gavecha," and me you threw behind your back. So the Gemara explains that's talking about a person that eats before he prays to Hashem. What is this? First you take care of yourself, you take care of your own needs, and then you go pray to me. So basically it's a disrespect and it's improper. That's what Shulchan Aruch says. It is asur for a person to eat anything before shacharit. So if a lady anyway doesn't pray shacharit normally, so then on Shabbat she doesn't have that issue of eating before shacharit. Okay? Now, something else kicks in, because you want to eat, you have to make kiddush before you eat. Obligation of kiddush comes only after shacharit, but if a person doesn't pray shacharit anyway, so you don't have the issue of eating before shacharit, but that other obligation does kick in, and therefore she should make full kiddush before she eats. On this point, there is an argument. if their obligation on ladies on Shabbat morning is a real obligation or not. So the Rashba says, no, ladies don't even have to make kiddush. Remember, the whole kiddush is at night, Friday night. We said at the onset of Shabbat, you make kiddush to announce Shabbat, and when Shabbat leaves, you make havdalah to announce Shabbat leaving. But the kiddush of the morning, whoever said that ladies are even obligated for that? So far, so good? Okay. So now, I'm glad that went through well. So being that, so as we mentioned, being that they don't have to pray shacharit, so the obligation, so they could eat, but if they want to eat, they would have to make kiddush according to those opinions that say that ladies do have to make kiddush. But let's say she has a hard time. She has a hard time, and they want to eat, very hungry, and by the time you go find the grape juice, whatever it is, she's starved. We said you could definitely 100% rely on the Rashba. Rashba is Rabbi Shlomo ben Aderet. He lived 800 years ago in the city of Barcelona. He was the Gadol Ador. He was one of the great Chachamim in Spain, and he was everybody accepted him as he's not one of the three pillars of Halachah. According to the Shulchan Aruch, we have the Rambam, Rabbi Yitzchak Alfasi, and the Rabbeinu Asher, but he's certainly up there. He was certainly up there. After he passed away, Rabbeinu Asher took over for a lot of the provinces in Spain, although he was Ashkenazi. But still, we have the Rashba we could rely on, and he says that ladies don't have that obligation. So, bottom line, if a lady, Shabbat morning, she's very hungry and she doesn't have time, she doesn't have the ability to make kiddush, she could definitely eat even without making kiddush.
Isn't making kiddush in the morning just saying for Priya Geffen?
Yeah, that's what it is. Correct. So that's as far as eating before that, early.
But it's better to do it, or
What? Sorry.
Yeah, what does that mean? Doesn't have the ability.
or
What did I
it's
say?
better not to do it?
Did I? It's better to make it. That's for sure. 100%. It's better to make it, and as you said, it's not a big deal. It's just you say some pesukim to announce that this is kiddush, and you say Bore Piregev. It's definitely better to do it. The whole idea of kiddush on Shabbat morning is poskim bring down is because you have to make a distinction. Rambam writes it. He says you have to make a distinction between the meal that you're eating on Shabbat and a meal that you're eating during the week. During the week, what do you want? You want to eat bread, you wash your hands, and you make hamotzi, and you eat the meal. So the same thing over here. You would wash your hands and sit down and make your meal. What is the distinction between this meal and the meal that you would eat during the week? That's why Chachamim made the takana that we should make kiddush. And they named this kiddush, Kiddush HaRabbah. Right? Kiddush HaRabbah means the great kiddush. So some say, what is this, a joke? It's not a great kiddush. It's only Bore Priya Geffen. In Hebrew there is this thing, they call a person who's blind, Sagi Nahor. You know what Sagi Nahor? Sagi Nahor means he has a lot of light. And it's called Lashon Sagi Nahor, that means someone who doesn't have a light of eyes, they call him a person who has a lot of light. It's like in a not demeaning manner. You don't want to put him down. So the same thing here. It's just Bore Priya Geffen. What is this? So he said, no, it's Kiddush HaRabbah. It's a great Kiddush. That's one of the reasons it's called Kiddush HaRabbah. There's others. It's to show that the Beracha Bore Priya Geffen itself is an important Beracha, and that's why we call it Kiddush HaRabbah. Rabbeinu Bachya says, I think, he says that, you know why we call it Kiddush HaRabbah? He says it's a sod. It's a hidden secret. Why this Kiddush of Shabbat morning is called Kiddush HaRabbah. Right? Let's go, yeah.
So let's say you try to always say kiddush before you leave
Right.
on Shabbat day. Can you change that when you're pregnant or have a baby?
Yeah, we said you were asking if it's considered neder, right? If you thought that this is the halacha and no way you could eat without that, and the truth is it's not true, so then you don't have to make hatanat nedarim. But if you knew that was the halacha, but you still wanted to do this, then it becomes a neder. Then you would have to do hatanat nedarim if you don't want to make kiddush. But really, most people, they think, oh, I got to make kiddush. I can't eat without kiddush. But we just explained, really, like, you could be Mekel. You could be Mekel and to go ahead and eat without it.
So then from now on, we should just say Lineder.
That would be good, yeah. Say B'li Neder, I'm going to make Kiddush. Say one time, that's all. You don't need to do it every time. You can say B'li Neder, I want to make Kiddush, in the Shabbat morning.
Is this is this like for after Shacharit, or what if like in the morning you wake up
Either.
and you want to eat something?
We're talking about the morning. We're talking about the morning, you wake up, you want to eat something. You want to eat a piece of cake before you go to shul, let's say. Or whatever. It depends when you wake up. Someone wakes up at 12 o'clock and they're going to eat a meal, then you should make Kiddush before the meal. That would be nice. Now, just the last thing, that they say about this Kiddush, that they say that Seudot of the day is opposite. I think Rav Chida writes this. This is opposite of Midat HaYesod. Midat HaYesod is the foundation, and which has another name. It's called Shabbat HaGadol. Therefore, the Kiddush of that meal is also called the Great Kiddush, Kiddush HaRabba. All right, these are just cute little things I found here and there. Okay, if a person, just talking about Shacharit, if a person prays, you could say, of course, the person could say the Birkot HaShachar, and ladies, all they have to say is just Shemon Esrei. You don't have to say anything else, right, for Shacharit. And that's perfectly fine. If you want to say the Pasuk of Shema, that's nice, but you don't have to. You want to say just Shemon Esrei, it's also perfectly fine. You've done
Should you say Aleinu after, or
why not? It's great. Rav Ovadia years ago, he wrote in Yabia Omer that ladies shouldn't say Musaf of Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh. Shouldn't say. Later he changed because he saw that there was a lot of other poskim that bring down a lot of different things. There's a language of kaparaini. There is certain prayer for forgiveness of our sins and so on and so forth on Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh. So he changed. He wrote in Yabia Omer Chelik Tet and in Chazon Ovadia he writes. Right in this book he wrote, which was one of the latest things that he wrote. He says ladies also, they are allowed to pray Musaf on Shabbat. He didn't say that it's an obligation, but he says they're certainly allowed to say it. It's perfectly fine, no problem.
Is it better not to say it?
No. That's exactly what he's coming to say. Not that it's better not to say it. He used to say it's better not to say it, then he switched and said they're allowed to say it if they like. I would suggest it. That's another 7 barachot right there. Add it to the roster of your 100 barachot.
sorry, while we are on the topic, what about the bracha for halal?
We don't. Baracha of halal, because halal is a mitzvah that has a mangerama. We do not make a baracha on it. So the ladies don't make a baracha, right? Except for the night of Pesach. That's separate.
That's the only time?
Right. The 2 nights of Pesach, we say Halel with a bracha.
Is it always Sephardim?
Yes. Right.
So the whole bracha you don't say, and also
Right.
at the one at the end?
Correct. They're always connected. Okay, so you lost 2 barachot, but I give you a musaf, that's 7 barachot. Okay, so that's as far as tefillah. If a person does not have wine or grape juice, what should they make kiddush on Shabbat day?
Beer.
Yeah.
Right. It should be beer, whiskey, things that do have alcohol content, right? Which in that country people use as something of importance. And how does he do it? He says the pesukim of Kiddush, Shamru Ben Israel, and whatever pesukim that they have in the Sidurim, and then he says Shahakol, and drinks it, right? He doesn't have to drink the whole 3 ounces. He drinks most of the 3 ounces, a little bit more than 1.5 ounces. Then what if a person doesn't have beer, doesn't have whiskey, doesn't have vodka or whatever, all these drinks? Then he takes the next step down, another non-alcoholic beverage, even if it doesn't have an alcohol content, like juice, Coke, whatever it is. Because anyway, what are you going to do? Not make kiddush and just go wash? We said we need a distinction here. So if he doesn't have it, at least he makes it on that. And if he doesn't even have that, then if he has no other choice, then he makes kiddush on bread. But what he does is, if you remember, we mentioned about the kiddush of the night last week. He does Netilat Yadayim, makes a bracha, does Netilat Yadayim. Then he sits down and says the pesukim of kiddush. Shamru b'nei Seudot shabbat, shabbat. Then he makes hamotzi and then he eats. So at least there is some sort of a distinction between this meal and a weekday meal, right? Some sort of a kiddush, whatever it's worth. Yeah, could say Mizmor David also. It's not going to be hefsek according to some. Some people have a custom even during the week when they wash. They say Mizmor David. It has 57 words, and 57 is a gematria of zan, and zan is mezonot, and a person gets his livelihood and the nourishment Hashem sends. Yeah, that's fine. We could say that Mizmor as well.
So this is only for the morning kiddush. For the night kiddush, if there's no wine, we go straight to bread.
The night kiddush, remember we said if a person doesn't want wine, even if he has wine, he doesn't want wine, he wants to make it on bread. We said the procedure, how it works, how they could do it, but definitely because of many reasons, it is much better to make kiddush on wine, if possible. Okay. So we mentioned already, at night, as we just mentioned, at night we easily allowed bread because over there the whole setup is different. But the morning, the whole kiddush is because there has to be a distinction between this meal and a weekday meal. So that's why it was tougher to allow a person to right off the bat make kiddush on bread, because that's the last resort. Good. We don't eat before kiddush, right? Because of kavod of kiddush. That is why we don't eat before kiddush. But we mentioned before, if the wife has a hard time, okay, you don't want me to eat until I make kiddush. My husband is going to come back from shul, late, so I don't want to fast. So the first best thing to do for her to make kiddush, right? So even if she prayed, even if she did all these things, just make kiddush. That would be the best thing, and eat some cake, or doesn't want to eat cake because of diet or whatever reason, or they don't have cake. So then she should drink a revi'it of the grape juice, right? You drink a revi'it of grape juice. That is considered kiddush from Seudot, which is fine. But if she's not comfortable even doing that, then she could eat, as we mentioned before, without making kiddush. This is already even if she prayed and everything. The first time we were talking about before prayer. Now here, even if she prayed and everything, it says shacharit, musaf, and there is a semi-obligation of kiddush. Even in this case, we mentioned, because some Rishonim say that ladies are exempt from the kiddush of the day, therefore she would be allowed to eat something before kiddush. That is fine. But for men, if a man wants to eat something before kiddush, that is not allowed, right? It's an issue, in shul, they disperse candies and everything. Before musaf, fine, but after musaf already, there's an obligation of kiddush. They shouldn't eat then. If someone during the Torah reading wants to eat a candy, we would tell him, wait, we'll make kiddush or something. It's not proper, but it's nothing to scream at him. But after kiddush already, I still wouldn't say to scream at him, but it would not be a correct thing to do to eat without making kiddush. If a person made kiddush on wine in the morning, and they had a kazait of a cake, okay? Let's say they were in shul, and they had a kiddush, and everybody ate, made kiddush, and they had whatever cake they had, and then by the time they made it home, it was already late. It was let's say 2 o'clock. They went to a certain shul that was far from their home, and by the time they made it home, it was after Chatzot, right? These days Chatzot is around 1 o'clock-ish, let's say. So they made it 1:30, 1:15. And so good, Baruch Hashem, they all make Kiddush again, let's say. And it's a good thing. Even if you make Kiddush, it's a good thing to make Kiddush before the Seudot. Why? Because the same reason we just mentioned, to make a distinction, that this is the Seudot Shabbat. And they had a meal, and during the meal, the person forgot to say Eretz Chalitza. During the Birkat Hamazon, we forgot to say Eretz Chalitza. Right? You already started the fourth baracha. You know what Rav Ovadia says? Don't go back. Why? Because you already had a meal. This is considered Seudot Shelishit. You already had a Kiddush from Kom Seudah by the Kiddush.
So for
Right.
Seudot Shlishi, it doesn't matter if you say the same?
We mentioned. Oh, you missed it. We said if a person forgot it, you should say it. But if a person forgot it, then he doesn't have to go back. So now, here we go. This person forgot, and this would be considered the Seudot Shelishit, and therefore he doesn't go back. Obviously, if he remembered, he said Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, then he says the baracha. But if he missed that, then he doesn't have to go back. Why? Because it is it's like a Seudot Shelishit, which we don't go back. Seudot Shelishit because we're going to see right now. You know what? We could talk about Seudot Shelishit right now. Masachet Shabbat, Daf Kuf Yud Chet. Right? It says Kol HaMekayem Shalosh Seudot b'Shabbat. Whoever does this 3 meals on Shabbat is going to be saved from 3 different Pur'aniyot, from 3 different hardships. One is Chevlo Shel Mashiach, the hardships of Mashiach comes. One is Din Gehinam, right, the judgment that a person goes through, the hardship that a person goes through in Gehinam. And the other is Milchemet Gog uMagog, the battle of Gog and Magog before the coming of the Mashiach. The person is going to be saved. There's a lot more things the Gemara over there adds to these perks of eating 3 meals on Shabbat. One of the Chachamim said, Yehi Chelki, my portion in the world to come should be with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. I'm sorry. It says, Kol mi shemashlim Shabbat Seudot b'Shabbat, whoever perfects 3 meals on Shabbat, there's a heavenly voice that comes and announces upon him. This pasuk in the Kiddush that we mentioned from Yeshaya, it says, Az titanag al Hashem, then you shall rejoice upon Hashem. That's talking about the first meal. Ve'yikavtecha al mamotei haaretz, and I will ride you upon the heights of the earth. That's the second meal. And I will feed you the portion of Yaakov your father. That is Seudot Shelishit. A lot of good stuff that were written about it, and everybody's obligated to try to eat Seudot Shelishit as well. When it comes to Seudot Shelishit, somehow it got the low end of attention when it comes to it. But if you stay by any Mekubalim, you see that they make such a huge deal about Seudot Shelishit. We understand there's something going on. Seudot Shelishit, we should try to make it on bread. They learn. They learn from a pasuk that it says by the parasha of Man. When the people came to Moshe, they said, "What's going on here? How come there is no man?" He says, "Yichluhu hayom, eat it today. Ki Shabbat hayom, because today is Shabbat. Hayom lo timtzau basadeh. You will not find it in the field." 3 times the word hayom is mentioned, and they say from here we learn that you have to eat bread 3 times. What does it have to do with eating bread? Because the pasuk says that calls the man bread. It says, "Hu halechem Hashem natan Hashem lachem leochla." That is the bread that Hashem gave you to eat. And you see that we're alluding here to eating bread. So Shulchan Aruch brings down. He says, "Hachacham einav berasho." One who is a chacham, he should think ahead and not to eat too much in the second meal, especially in the winter. The days are very short, and a person comes home all hungry because when did you have the meal? Last night, 6 o'clock, right? By now, it's like, let's say, 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. You're starving. So you eat, and then comes 4 o'clock, time for Seudot Shelishit. No way, you're stuffed. You can't eat anything. In the summer, it gets a little easier. But in the winter, it's tough. And he writes, one who is a chacham, who is a wise man, thinks ahead. And he doesn't stuff his face by the second meal, and he'll be able to eat Seudot Shelishit properly. But in reality, someone who is really full, he can't eat. It's impossible for him to eat right now. If he could just eat a little bread, kazait of bread even, to do the mitzvah, perfect. Don't eat anything else. Just eat the kazait of bread. That would be perfect. But if they can't even do that, then they could eat a kazait of cake. If they can't even eat that, they eat the kazait of spaghetti. I don't know, some macaroni salad, whatever it is that it should be mezonot, anything that's made from mezonot. And if you can't eat that, then a little bit of fish, plain fish, or meat, or and if they can't do that, then fruit, right? Mine perot, different types of fruit. I read somewhere that even if the person is like so stuffed they can't even eat fruit, just eat a cup of grape juice, for Seudot Shilishit. At least that the person should eat it with having Seudot Shilishit in mind. But obviously, the best thing to do is for a person to definitely set the meal of Seudot Shilishit on bread, set it up, try to make things that would be, you go to shuls, they usually have like egg salad and tuna. That's all they have. But, all right. That's also good. I'll tell you, it's Poskim bring down that it's a person should try to eat a fish on Seudot Shilishit. And also they say the person should try to eat eggs on Seudot Shilishit. Why eggs? Because eggs are sort of like for morning. And what are we mourning? Moshe Rabbeinu passed away on Shabbat afternoon. Yosef HaTzadik passed away on Shabbat afternoon. And so did David HaMelech. Right? That's why in Mincha we say Tzidkatcha, the 3 Pesukim of Tzidkatcha, they're alluding to them, that we are Tziduk Hadin, that we're accepting the judgment of Hashem. And in their remembrance, some people only eat eggs on Seudot Shilishit. Some eat eggs also Shabbat morning. That's different, that's for Ornik Shabbat. But Seudot Shilishit, that's the reason. Also, Rambam
Like
writes.
fish, tuna is okay or is not?
Yeah, tuna is okay, fine, yeah.
But I thought you're not supposed to mourn.
Right, so we're not announcing it that we're mourning, and this is for tzaddikim. You're right. Regular case of mourning, you should not mourn befarhesia in public. This is for tzaddikim, passed away 3,000 years ago. It just shows how much respect we have for them. It's not just an allusion to the mourning. What were we saying? Fish, right?
Tuna.
Fish, tuna is fine. Yeah, tuna is fine. Rambam writes that a person should. There's a question if the Rambam holds that we should make kiddush for Seudot Shilishit. That means before Seudot Shilishit, get a cup. And some say they read in the Rambam that he says, yeah, you should make kiddush. Others say no. The Rambam only means because his language is a little bit different than the other meals. Rambam only means that a person should try to drink wine during the Seudot. Others bring it out right. They say that a person should drink wine even much later, acharonim, like the Beresh Chai, right? Api Kabbalah, that a person should make Borei Geffen during the meal on wine, grape juice, whatever it is. It's a good thing. Another bracha right there. Good. When should one start? When can one start eating Seudot Shilishit? So the time actually begins half hour after midday, like our case that we mentioned before, that a person ate the meal already half hour after midday, which then could be considered Seudot Shilishit. That's called Mincha Gedolah. Mincha Gedolah is always 35 minutes actually after Chatzot, and that would be fine. I remember in Iran, in the long summer days, we will finish tefillah by 8 o'clock in the morning, like many shuls in Israel, and we come and eat a light meal. That was our Seudah Sheniya. And then, 3 o'clock in the afternoon already, we would have Seudot Shilishit, which was a much fancier meal. Polo Choresh,
That's what my grandparents did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, because they come from home, they come from shul. Most shuls, they finish by 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock, Who wants to eat cholent then? But okay. But that's that. So that's the earliest time that you could have it, half hour after midday. When is the latest? You have time right up to Shekia, right up to sunset. Sunset is what? 8:09, 8:07, 8:08. Person.
That's when you can start.
You could even start there. Yeah. The person rushes and let's say Baruch Hashem, in many shuls there is learning going on. They're learning Torah. They don't want to stop, and they keep going. They go until the last minute, and then they stop. As long as you do it, they try to do it before sunset. You're good, right? As long as Tzeta Kochavim didn't begin. Let's say a person missed sunset. It was already sunset. It was 8:11, 8:12, 8:13. You still have that duration of the 13 and a half minutes even to start. As long as it's not Tzeta Kochavim yet, you could start and then continue eating. you have to stop.
Is it starting to eat bread or starting to eat anything?
Starting to eat, well, you have to start eating bread.
No, but
Let's say you don't want to
Let's
eat
say
bread. Okay, we'll get to that. But let's stick to bread right now. Yes.
Well, let's say your solution she ends very late, but then past 7 time, your weekend Amazon is still the same.
Yeah, 100%.
Hayom is still the same. Hayom is.
The ze. You don't say the word ze in there, but everything else is the same. It's not a problem, right? Because you started on Shabbat. You started your meal on Shabbat. That's perfectly fine. Let's say you're not eating bread, right? That was your question, and you're making mezonot, right? You're eating cake, and it's already, and let's say the sun already set, right? So at that point in time, you could continue eating cake and drinking whatever drink you were drinking up to Tzedek Kochavim. Once it's Tzedek Kochavim, in that case, then you can't eat anymore, right? That's a distinction between the Seudot.
When can you start in that case?
In that case, you could, no, we're going to get to that. Right now, started before Shekia. Started at 8:08, eating cake and drinking soda, whatever it is, water. But if you started it without, you didn't wash anything, and then you missed it. It's Shekia already. Person said, let me at least grab a bite of a cake, right? And whatever, drink some soda, wine, right? You're not in a meal, and you started after Shekia, right? Then you cannot drink anymore once it's at the Kochavim, right? You can't eat or drink once it's at the Kochavim.
You can't continue to eat it.
You cannot continue, right? You could eat right now, but you can't continue, right, to eat, right? You could only eat up to Tzedek Kochavim. Once it's Tzedek Kochavim, you cannot eat anymore. Drink, you can't. There's a difference between drinking and eating. Eating, a person could eat up to Tzedek Kochavim, but drinking, he cannot drink during the time of Ben Shmashot. Once it's Shekiah, he can't drink.
Anything?
Right.
unless you wash.
Unless you wash. If you're in a Seudot, if you had bread. No. Drinking is a little thing.
So drinking
Some
is
say
Shkia, you have to stop.
if you didn't wash.
Right, we didn't wash.
If you didn't wash, by Shekia we have to stop. Right? If you didn't wash, by Shekia you have to stop, but you could still continue eating the cake. Why? Because when it comes to eating is considered one act. But with drinking, and that's a kiviut, it's set. But drinking, every cup is a separate act in itself. So that's why, a person has to stop drinking, because it's as if you're starting something anew after sunset. But with eating, no, it's continuous, and that's why one is allowed to continue eating
Until Tzedek.
until Tzedek Kochavim. That's then 13 and a half minutes later. All right, I think we could. Let's
So
start.
I just wanted with the someone who eats, who's careful to eat all 3 meals is saved from. Can you repeat that again?
From 3 things.
Yeah.
One is called the first one was Chevle Mashiach, the hardships of Mashiach. The other one was, the second one was the Dina Shel Geinam, judgment of Geinam. And the third one was Gog Magog, battle of Gog Magog. There's a lot of talk on this, why, what, each Seudah is alluding to one of the other avot, and so on and so forth.
Thank you.